everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is another Shop My Stash update for the month of December. I think this one's going to be a little bit more fun because I do have some fun things planned this month. I'm going to Colorado for a little trip, and then I have a couple birthday celebrations that I think will be fun to dress up for as well. So if you guys are new here, hi, my name is Vivian. I'm a robotics engineer with a love for all things beauty and makeup related, and I'd love it if you like and subscribed if you aren't already. With that being said, let's just hop into it. So with all of my Shop My Stashes, I go through the picks that I picked out last month and kind of just discuss what I liked, what I didn't like, how much I used them. The second half of the video will be my new picks, just like going through my collection and finding some new products to pick out. So I will leave timestamps linked down below if you guys aren't interested in the review portion of this video. So the first thing I want to mention is this from Rare Beauty. This is the Rare Beauty Lip Souffle in the shade Inspire. This is obviously a mini size of the product, and I did not like this that much. I find that the product, I don't like the souffle formula, to be honest. It feels like powdery on my lips, and I just don't love that feeling. It makes my lips feel very dried out, especially because I do have just really dry lips in general. So I didn't love that, and when I tried to apply like a lip balm on top of it, it gave it like a weird texture. It didn't feel nice, and then the color separated. Didn't love this. I think I might honestly declutter this. Like, I don't wear reds that often. This is the only like true bright red I have in my collection. Most of the reds that I have are like either darker berry tones or mauve tones. I don't know how I feel about this. It's definitely not my favorite formula. I definitely would not purchase a different shade of this, but it is the only red in my collection, so I'm not sure how I feel about it. I think that this might be better for someone who like already has not dry, cracked lips, but for me it just didn't work out. I didn't love the way it looked or felt on my lips, so when I tried to put this on for like Christmas, I kind of immediately wiped it off. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this product, to be honest. The next item I have here is my Merit Bronze Balm. This is in the shade Sen. I did actually quite like this. I think it's a really pretty sheer bronzer. You really can't go overboard with it. I don't think I like it as much as my like Makeup by Mario Skin Enhancer in terms of like sheer bronzers, but I do like this. I think this tone is just a little bit more warm than the Makeup by Mario one, which is maybe why I like the Makeup by Mario one a little bit more, but this still blends out really easily. You can draw it directly on your face and it's not going to pick up your makeup. You can also draw it on a brush. I've done it both ways. It's still a really great product. I did enjoy using it for the month that I had it in my Shop My Stash, but I'm ready to pick out a different cream bronzer to work on. So I liked it a lot. Have no qualms with this whatsoever. I think I just want a little bit of a change in my makeup routine. The next thing I put in my Shop My Stash is the Vive Skin Nova. This is their like radiance primer. I didn't use this, to be honest. I found that if I wanted a glowy look, I would just go in with like a glowier sunscreen instead of going in with like a glowy primer, because I am working on the Pore Eclipse mattifying primer from Milk Makeup in my project pan right now. So didn't reach for this at all, honestly. I still think it's a beautiful product. It was just not what I was going for. I think I reached for this maybe once this past month. The next thing I want to talk about is this blush from Gucci. This blush component is beautiful, don't get me wrong. Honestly, one of the most stunning just components I have in my collection. I have this in the shade 05 Rosy Beige, and this blush is like maybe a little bit underwhelming for me. I do like the color and I do like the formula, but it takes a really long time to build up, and when I'm such a heavy blush gal, I just wish there was like a little bit more pigment and a little bit more impact to it. This also has like a nice little radiance to it as well, so definitely not glowy, definitely not highlightery at all, but just like a little bit more radiant. So I do like this blush. I'm glad I have it in my collection, but I do wish it had just a little bit more impact. I think maybe some of the other colors do, but it is an expensive blush and I have a lot of blushes, so I don't think I'm gonna try a different color anytime soon. I think this is good for me. It's very pretty though. I like the component a lot, and it definitely does make me feel very just like luxurious and bougie in general. So I put 2 eyeshadow palettes in my Shop My Stash this month as well, or this past month as well. The first one is the e.l.f. Bite Size Quad in the Cream and Sugar variation, and the second one is the Pat McGrath Utopian Dreams palette. With the e.l.f. Bite Size Quad, I did end up using this enough times to meet my goal for my No Palette Left Behind challenge. I used this today as well. This is fine. It's like a $3 eyeshadow palette, so you really can't go wrong with it. I think the packaging is not the best, and the shades in here are very like softly pressed, so if you drop it, you're probably gonna break it and like spill it. For me, like when I use this palette, I typically just put on the lid setting shade just all over, and then I do a mix of these 2 shimmer shades on a brush and then apply it. I find that with my fingers, it's a little bit too icy and a little bit too impactful. With the shimmers specifically, like I just don't love the way that it looks. When I want an impactful like glitter, I'll do that, but this has like too much pigment for that type of look, so I like it more with a brush. So I used this enough to meet my goal. So I've used this a total of 5 times this year. So I'm glad I met my goal usage on this. That's pretty much exactly what I wanted from putting this in my Shop My Stash rotation, so very happy with that. And then with my Pat McGrath palette, I did use this a couple times. I think the total number of times I've used this is 3, so I think that's 2 within the last month. I still think this is a very stunning palette. It's very pinky, and I don't reach for pinks very often. The special shades in here are still the stars of the show. I do think they're really pretty, especially the purple special shade in here. That's just insane, unreal. And if you're just doing like a wash of those shades over your lids, it doesn't feel too impactful, and it doesn't feel like too out there, which is the way that I have been wearing it. And I also feel like with my bangs, I can get away with wearing very colorful looks more. Not that I can never get away with wearing colorful looks, but I feel like just having the bangs kind of cover my eyes a little bit, they're not as intense in my opinion. They don't feel as intense compared to when like I didn't have bangs. So I really liked this. I posted a picture over on my Instagram wearing this eyeshadow palette and like my blue dinosaur sweater, which I just thought was really fun. It was a very colorful vibe, colorful moment. I do wish I kind of used this a little bit more just to reach my usage goal for my No Palette Left Behind challenge, but I still think 3 uses on any colorful palette in my collection is a good sign. It's progress, and it's about what I was expecting when I started my No Palette Left Behind challenge. So those are all of the products that I picked out last month. We are going to switch over to my other camera so we can pick out some more products for the month of January. We're going to start off with my eyeshadow palette drawer first. I already know that the palette that I want to pick out is this one from Natasha Denona. This is the I Need a Nude palette. I think it's a stunning palette. I got this relatively recently, and I've only used it a couple times since getting it, so I just want to give it a little bit more love. I think it's a stunning palette. Hold on, let me see if I can open this. It really just is a stunning palette. I love the shades in here. I love the tones in here as well. Just want to get more use out of that. I don't know if I'm going to pick out another palette. Honestly, I don't feel the desire to reach for any of them. I think, actually, that's a lie. I'm also going to pull out my Unleashia Glitterpedia palette. This is the shade Olive Glitter. I haven't used this yet. These are literally all just like glitter toppers, and I think it'd be fun to use this, especially because, well, New Year's technically already passed, but I have some places I'm going to. I'm going to Colorado, like I mentioned before, and I have a couple of like birthday celebrations, which I think it'll be fun to throw on some extra glitter for. So those are my 2 palette picks, but I think that's it for this drawer. This is my big drawer full of stuff. So I have all of my bronzers, powder blushes, cream blushes, liquid and cream like stick form blushes, just kind of mixed all over here. I think for bronzer, I want to pull out this. This is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Beauty Wand. This is the contour wand in the shade Light Medium. This isn't like super cool tone, so I think it's a good like neutral shade to use as a bronzer contour type situation. I'm gonna pull this out. I think it's nice. I want to use it a little bit more. And then for powder blush, I think I'm gonna go with this, not this one, with this one from Vive. This is the second shade I have in my collection. This is in the shade Rosa. It's a very pretty, just like neutrally pink shade. I'm really excited to use this. The Vive formula is so good. Not super pigmented, not super intense, but still gives like a good impact in my opinion. Just really like this. I think the blushes are very pretty. And I think that's it from this section. I don't think I need any more, especially because of the items that I already have in my project pan. These are more just supposed to complement those items. They're not necessarily supposed to like replace those items. So that's it for this drawer. This next drawer is face palettes and highlighters and primers. So I think I'm gonna put this one in. This is like a tiny sample size of the denote Yummy Skin Glow Serum. I think this will take me a very short amount of time to finish up, especially because it is so small. So I think I just want to get more use out of this just to try and move it out of my collection. And I think this is supposed to be more of like a serum primer type thing. So I think this will pair well with like my skincare section of my morning routine instead of makeup. So I'm gonna put this in my Shop My Stash as well, just to get more use out of it. It is so small. I do want to try and finish this up to just get something like a primer out of my collection. All right, and this last section are all of my foundations, concealers, powders, and color correctors. I think I am going to pull out my Glossier Skin Tint just because I want maybe a little bit more just like evenness around my skin, especially when I go to Colorado. I definitely don't want to put in the effort of doing like a full face, but maybe if I just have a little bit of something on my face, I'll feel a little bit more put together, especially if we're like going out at all. Just something to be around other people without wearing a ton of makeup, without feeling like I'm wearing a ton of makeup, and just having my skin evened out a little bit. So I'm gonna pick this out as well. I don't usually pick out a foundation, but I will make an exception for this one trip that I'm going on. And I think that's good because I do have the powder in my project pan. I do have the Merit the Minimalistic in my project pan, and I don't really reach for color correctors unless I like actually need to. So I think that's it. I don't usually pick out glosses for my Shop My Stashes, but just because, you know, I have so many and I really do want to try to make more use out of them, I think I am gonna pick one out. And I think the one that I'm gonna pick out is this one from Merit. This is the Jelly Shade Slick in the shade Mapleton. This is like a pH changing lip tint. I think it's fine. I do have my e.l.f. lip gloss in my project pan as well that I'm trying to use up. So this is kind of just for funsies, and it's not super tinted. It just gives a little bit of like a sheer pink tint to the lips because it is that pH changing type of formula. I do want to make more use out of the rest of the glosses in my collection, so I just want to pull one out, try and get some use out of it. I think this will be a nice addition. All right, and this is everything that I am going to pick out for this month. I think this is a nice variety of color stories. I have a nice neutral blush to wear if I want something more neutral. I just want to get more use out of the e.l.f. contour wand because I am not super familiar with it yet. And then just some things to liven my face up a little bit if I want to put on something to even my skin tone, but not necessarily a full foundation type thing. So I think this is a good haul. I'm happy with these products, and we will see how much use I get out of them in the next update. So I hope you guys are having a great day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you guys in my next one.